frame. I think those are the key shots these days, John, knocking the long ones in, aren't they?
Well, if you haven't got much of a long game these days, you are struggling. You've got to be able to play your way in, because so many people now are proficient at the tactical side of it, and long games become ever more important.
Might have to go over that side of the table depending on the angle he has to get on the black. No, he could hold it, so he was just off straight. And if he gets the cannon correctly here, he'll certainly develop a few more.
Yes, he was always just going to play on that red immediately above the black there, just to leave this single
14.
red. Of course, he'd be trying to leave an angle again to
15.
come into the pack. There's actually a really nice gap in that pack as well. If he can get the cue ball right in the middle of that with pace, he'd be very unlucky not to be on anything. So
that's the one you mentioned, John, but he's decided just to flick the red. But he's going to have to go into them this time. But I thought he was going to play the
22.
shot you suggested there.
yeah, interesting choice of shot that, actually, because you think, you know, why not go there? You got the perfect angle, play it then. But John's down there hitting the shot, so once he's potted this, he's got to hope he gets an angle on it.
23.
Still not wrong, Dennis, is it? But it's just it's interesting. Already in this match, we've seen Marko not quite get half ball on the black, which would have enabled him to split the pack up, and John there not really going in as early as you would have thought. So it does show that people see the game in different ways.
$30. $31.
Don't know if he can hold for that red to the right of the pink. It would have to be a very delicate little screw shot. Might be able to. He's played it well. Now, does he leave himself an angle on the pink to go into the bunch, or does he play for the black?
36.
Got a choice here. As you said, John, it just depends how the player's feeling, and certain players do it differently to others.
37.
Yes, I hate to sound like Willie Thorne, but I can assure you that O'Sullivan or Hendry would have been straight into that pack at the first opportunity to open the balls out. There's nothing wrong with the way John's played this, because ordinarily he'd be straight into the pack as well, but just needs a good white now.
And he hasn't got that good white that you mentioned. This is a very thin snick he's
44.
left with. He caught that full ball. He wanted to hit it on the right side, and then this would have been a much easier pot. He's a bit close to that red, and it's quite a thin cut into the left corner. In fact, he tried one like this in the opening frame and left Marko right in the balls. Can he pull it off this time? Yes. Might even pot the other one. Now then, he needs a good blue. 45 in front. If the blue goes in, he'll take this second frame. If it doesn't, Marko will be right back with a good chance.
Beautifully played. Very well struck.
50.
Cued straight through that one, right in the centre of the pocket. And the one thing about that, Dennis, knocking that red over the pocket, he knew there was no other shot but to play the blue, wasn't there? So you can focus your mind 100% on that shot. Still
51.
had to knock it in, of course, and it was wonderfully played.
Oh, it looked as if that was going to go on the near knuckle when it set off. Let's have a look at this.
58.
Yeah, it seemed. Mind, the players have been talking about this turning away from the pocket. That was an indication there, John.
I think they've definitely
59.
been pulling up to the top jaw this week. Just a little. I mean, that does look like it's on the front jaw, and then it pulls up. The other one certainly is, because Dings Jun, we played a shot yesterday, you couldn't believe it moved that much. But you know, when the tables are settled down on carpet, Dennis, it takes sometimes a couple of days the tables settle in, and
66.
you know the fitters are very good. They keep looking at them every day, so you can put the spirit level on that later on and check it out.
67.
This is a great effort from John Higgins. He is one of the greatest break builders the game's ever seen. There's only Stephen Hendry and Ronnie O'Sullivan ahead of him in the century department. But John has
74.
made 382 in his illustrious career.
75. $82. 83.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Dennis, there's many ways to make big breaks, and this has been a classic pick one red off at a time break, hasn't it? A lot of times, as I mentioned earlier, he could have gone into the pack. And a fabulous shot that is. Slightly hampered by the pink, but this has been a real top-class professional contribution.
90.
Highest break here this week in the Masters is young Judd Trump. Had a break of 1, 2, 3.
$97. 98.
Very well played, John Higgins. The crowd always love to see a century, and that's his 383rd century break. And the 9th of this year's
106.
Masters. It's been a great effort, John, hasn't it?
Fabulous break, Dennis, and shows the importance there. Getting momentum in the match. You win that first frame with excellent clearance that John made, and dare I say it, our illustrious colleague in the studio, Mr. Davis, used to make a habit of winning the first frame quite a lot, didn't he? And of course it gets you into the match, and he's going to put his opponent Marko Fu on the back foot with his contribution. So Marko's sitting there and knows he's 2-0 down.
115. 118. 122. 127. 133.
Fantastic effort by John Higgins. And that total clearance, a break of 140, puts him in line for the £10,000.